Yeah, hi, I'm Eshkalar, the thingy, and and I'm also, and I love myself because there's nobody else in the room, and I'm desperate. So I want to talk today about a mythological constant. Yeah, there is one, because mythology isn't a science, but it is a philosophy, and you can have constants in philosophy. So here's your idea: the elf. And I'm going to take a point of departure, specifically the light elves of Norse mythology, but I'm also going to talk about the changelings of Irish mythology and German mythology. Uh, yeah. And ideas of orcs and Norkers and, weird little creatures in the darkness. Not fairies, these guys. There's a reason for those, and they don't exist in this particular discussion because there's a reason for them, too. But it isn't humans. And elves do have existed and interacted with humans. And here's how it goes. When the human race was initially expanding out of wherever it began, Las Vegas or some other nuclear test site, uh, read your Hitchhiker's Guide. I'm kidding. But when humans started to expand from wherever their first point of origin was, and their tiny little tribes and family units, however it was, or maybe the aliens had a big light in the sky saying, come on this way. I don't know. But whatever it was, they encountered other hominid peoples, other humanoid peoples, other species of human. Yeah, like the Neanderthal man, Homo neanderthalensis. Yes, a big deal. And from them we get light colored eyes. Yeah, we do. Red hair, blonde hair. Stuff like that comes to us from our interaction with the Neanderthals. Because the human race has brown eyes and brown hair or black hair. Yes or no? Yeah. Human race. Go out and look. Count the number of blonde people, count the number of red-haired people, and realize that those are negative recessive recombinants. That means they aren't important to the human race. Whereas brown hair and brown eyes and some melanin in the skin is essential to the spread of the average human being. So white guys are like way out in the genetic shallow end somewhere, you know, where the human race isn't supposed to go. They're supposed to be here in the middle. Slightly darker skin, slightly smaller, you know, more handsome, whatever you want to look at it. More machismo. But still, you get the idea. So those are traits, a lighter skin perhaps, but definitely the lighter colored eyes and lighter colored hair that come to us through the Neanderthals, who were captured, enslaved, serially raped, and then killed and eaten. That's how the human race used to treat other hominids, just like chimpanzees treat them today, just like otters and baby seals. That's a story you don't want to know about. But at any rate, the elf is a real creature. We have candidates for what an elf is, or a changeling, which were human, smaller than human, but still in the human range, right? We had Homo floresiensis. Floresiensis is like Popeye. It's a chicken fricassisa, sisa, sisa, you know. But Homo floresiensis, I think, is also called the Hobbit, you know, the little people that lived in the caves in Burma and Thailand or wherever, and perhaps many other places. We only have remains from certain places. And then also, while they were existing and humanity was expanding, there were also the supposed giant apes, Gigantopithecus. Big ape. Now, I don't know how big an ape has to be for you to look at it and say that's a giant, but I'd say that a full-grown mountain gorilla would constitute an ogre to me. If I was going to create a mythology and I wanted to have humans and orcs and ogres, right? I'm not really, I don't think orcs should be tall. I think they should be smaller. But look, humans, orcs, and ogres. Silverback gorilla would be an ogre. And they're about right for it. If you could teach a silverback gorilla to punch with his fist instead of doing this, he could punch a hole in your car. And you can't. You can't even punch your way out of a paper bag. I'm just kidding. I know you're a black belt or black stripe in Taekwondo. You'd kick my head off. But I'm a comedian. I'm supposed to be able to say this stuff without you taking offense. Because that's civilization. Working out tensions by using our words instead of our hammer fist. Yeah? Or rear naked choke. Now, how are you going to get naked in the middle of a fight anyway? But anyway, I just want to talk for a minute about elves. So, you've also, besides Homo floresiensis for elves, and perhaps Gigantopithecus for giants, if a full grown gorilla might be an ogre, then certainly an ape that's a foot taller at the shoulders, right, would be a giant. So there's your rumors about giants and your legends about giants. I have another reason for where they could come from, but here's one possible mechanism for racial memory. I mean, by race, I mean the human race, of otherworldly or other species creatures that we interacted with that are very humanoid or very large humanoid. And here they are. Gigantopithecus is your giant. Gorillas, modern gorillas have been around with us for a long time. There's your ogre, right? Okay. Of course, in Japan, your ogre was probably a bear. There's another one. Bears look very much like humans, by the way. I have a associate, a giant, as a matter of fact, who was a butcher, and he said if you take the skin off a bear and you take the skin off a human being, they look about the same. Now that scared the hell out of me because he had a big long knife in his hands, and I didn't want him to prove it, so I just nodded my head until he put the knife back. But still, that's a thing. So abominable snowmen, stuff that we think about but we've never seen, that live in places where you might find bears, could be sometimes devolved into the more reasonable conclusion that we're talking about bears. And since we know that genetically speaking, bears cannot mate with humans, although they can try, I think there's video footage somewhere, they're not going to have any offspring with humans. And so we can safely discount bears when we talk about humanoid creatures, hominid creatures interacting with man. So we've got this Homo floresiensis, we have this small person, and that can be a lot of things, leprechauns. It could be the changelings, and both the German and the Irish peoples have strong legends of changelings that will steal your baby. Today we have dumpsters. Think about what I'm saying. Or changelings that would replace your human baby with a monster baby. That paradigm would have so soothed my parents' souls, really, that I hope it's true, that I'm a changeling and not a human. Because my poor parents didn't deserve me. They deserve somebody nice. Anyway, somebody reasonable. There's a word I had to learn, and I still don't understand it very well, but still, you get the point. So, we've got this Homo floresiensis for changelings, right, and hobbits, or whatever your miniature people ideas are, right? But not fairies. Fairies are tiny, right? I mean, the Welsh fairy is a place where humanoids also existed, but there were creatures of every size and shape, of various levels of magic and various levels of, you know, mythological whitewash painted over them, so you don't really know what's what. You just hope you get something out of it when you read all the stories. So anyway, there were other candidates too for elves, for the light elves of the Norse and for the smaller elves of some other cultures. You've got Homo neanderthalensis and you've got Homo erectus, both of which coexisted with Homo sapiens back in the 100,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. It's quite a stretch. So we grew and we learned to slaughter through our interaction with these other humanoid types. You notice they didn't slaughter us, did they? Not too well. But how do we do with them? Yeah, you can't find an elf to save your life anymore, can you? No. Because we enslaved, worked to death, ate or raped serially, and then ate all those that we came into contact with. Now, I've said this before, and I have friends that will back it up now that they've learned a little bit about life, but there are some men that will hump anything that isn't tied down or can't run away. This is a true story. And I'm not talking about Hello Smokey. Don't look it up. But it's not the kind of boo-boo I make, says Yogi Bear. But the elves could be Neanderthalensis, which perhaps very likely had the lighter eyes and the lighter hair that we find in only a very small portion of our population today. Double recessive recombinants. Like baldness is the human trait. People don't realize that. Thick head of hair, that's on its way out, I'll tell you the truth. Anyway, that's why the thick head going bald is very important. That's why Aeschylus was killed, because a gull was carrying a clam in its jaws, or in its paws, feet, and it was looking for a place to drop it so it would break open, and it saw Aeschylus walking in the sunshine and thought that his bald head reflecting the sun was a rocket. And that's how you kill philosophers, kids. Don't have to intercede with the gods. The gods have got it. They're on it for you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hope they kill me with willing women and interesting drugs. You can't always get what you want. Oh, well. So, there's your elves. You got Homo erectus, which was very humanoid looking, but had a larger head and perhaps more pronounced teeth. You know, like we see orcs today. Yeah. Okay? And orcs were inhumans in the Norse, myths. So you get the idea. And supposedly bred with humans or whatever, right? And then you have the same thing with elves. They look like humans, except maybe they're prettier, because that's what they seem to say. Elves are prettier than humans, right? The light elves of the Norse were far prettier than humans. That's why the gods themselves, the Aesir, desired them so as mates and slaves. And you know what I said about it before. The Aesir were no different. They're pretty violent. Odin killed his two brothers. So, yeah. Well, his name is actually Othin, I think. That's how you pronounce the runes. Othin, or Oth. Yeah. But, now, you don't pronounce them often. You don't pronounce them often. Oh, geez, this is probably the B material. But I'm entranced because I'm talking and I get to do this. So there's your elves, buds. Humanoid, other species of the Homo genus that did exist and that were around with us. And that we kept crippled copies of our interactions with them because we didn't want to remember how terribly we treated them. But if you want to see how terribly we treat people, look around, read some history. Yeah. We find a group of people that are unable to defend themselves and we oppress them until they are destroyed or blended back into humanity. That's nasty. But it's what humans do, except for me. I like to stroke pretty girls on their hair and stuff. Because I got nothing else going. I'm an evolved human being from another continuum, 2 continuums away. And in my continuum, we evolved from apes too, but we didn't evolve from a killing ape. We evolved from a peaceful ape. And there are peaceful apes. And there are killing apes. Killing apes gave us humans and chimpanzees. Peaceful apes gave us all those apes that are gone now. Because we raped and killed and ate. That's what humans do. If you don't think I'm serious, well, you'll know I'm serious. Well, no, I can't be serious in Eshkalar, but you get the point. But you can look this stuff up. New ideas are coming forth in anthropology and paleontology. And our reading of the fossil records, so scarce it is, because we have Gigantopithecus is postulated from like a handful of teeth and part of a mandible. That ain't much. You're like, well, did it have big feet? Because if it had big feet, it had, I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Well, we don't know because all we got is some teeth and a jaw. Wait, and you say you people are really reaching. You're reaching around the front of that ape to find stuff that ain't there. I'm not sure why, but I bet it has something to do with humans, doesn't it? What we do and how we do it. So this has been Eshkalar, talking a bunch of nonsense that makes total sense. Elves are real. We just don't remember them right because it would make us out to be the bad guys. Ha ha. Or I'm sorry. Ha ha. There you go.